Welcome to the Unveiling Shadows podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Mosby. Join me as I dive into powerful stories of resilience and strength. In each episode, I sit down with guests who have faced similar journeys of coercive control, financial manipulation, and personal invasion. Together, we uncover the shadows, share our experiences, and inspire others to reclaim their lives. Tune in, listen, and be a part of the community that stands tall against the forces that seek to control us. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Unveiling Shadows podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Mosby, and this episode is Hope, Courage, and Perseverance for the birth certificate fraud to become an American state national citizen. So basically, when you're born, they hijack you at birth, turn you into a corporation, and sell you to the stock exchange so they can trade you and monetize on you without you even knowing, and then you become a slave to the system. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to go on to Anna Von Reitz's website and read a little bit about this birth certificate fraud so that you understand what I'm talking about in this episode. So it says birth certificate discussion part 1. The birth certificate, the evidence of the crime against your life. I've been asked to summarize this issue many times, so here it is in the proverbial nutshell. The problem is that privately owned for-profit corporations under contract to provide government services has misrepresented themselves as a government and used the presumed position of public trust to defraud us, enslave us, and levy false claims against us and our assets in the foreign jurisdiction of international commerce, which is maritime, the sea jurisdiction. The misuse and abuse of birth certificates and other misrepresentations as voluntary private contracts has led to the literal enslavement of hundreds of millions of people worldwide, almost 100 years after slavery was universally outlawed. These issues of economic slavery and slavery via corporate proxy must be addressed at the mechanism used to promote the abuse must be dismantled. The registration of live births in America throughout the former British Empire, most of Europe and Japan is used not simply record the birth of babies, but to name the commercial vessels after those babies. These proxy entities may be variously constructed as estate trusts, foreign status trusts, or even public transmitting utilities. The creators of these incorporated entities named after living children then operate these corporations and accrue debt that they falsely charge against the living people, using deceitfully similar names as means to defraud the victims. This is a bunco crime known as personage or strawman. Knowingly mistaking on purpose a living man for a corporation using the same or similar name. For example, mistaking a man named James Clarence Penny for the retail department store doing business as J.C. Penney, all in capital letters. The controllatory routine practiced by attorneys and barristers is also known as barratry. Knowingly bringing charges against this corporate proxies as if they were the same as the living people they are named after, and addressing those same people as defendants in civil and criminal actions. This is the tip of the iceberg of the harm that is routinely done to living people via the misuse of incorporated proxy entities merely named after them. It's a banal, institutionalized fraud scheme that must be recognized for what it is and attacked by every peaceful and determined means possible. When my son was born, I was presented with the paperwork that all new mothers are coerced to sign. When I refused, I was bluntly told by two menacing interns at a Catholic nun that I either sign or my son would be kept by the state custody and I would not be allowed to take him home. Please bear in mind that I was a successful 40-year-old married career woman with no criminal record, no addiction problems, no history of mental illness. There was and is no possible cause for the way and I and millions of other American women are treated at the extortion used to secure an inequitable, involuntary, and unconscionable public commercial interest in our babies as a chattel properties being bonded and used as collateral to finance the public debt of these private government services corporations pretending to be the American government. Those responsible were and are criminals engaged in press ganging land asset into the international jurisdiction of the sea, inland piracy, enslavement, human trafficking, unlawful conversion, extortion, racketeering, armed robbery, kidnapping, commercial fraud, and conspiracy against the Constitution for the United States of America. Every single person involved in this needs to be charged and arrested and thrown in jail without further delay. But the police are employed by the same privately owned and operated corporations that are benefiting themselves from these gross abuses. That is, the police forces that we depend on to enforce the public law are operating instead as private commercials mercenaries, not as public peacekeeping officers at all. The foxes are indeed guarding the henhouse of America, a circumstance that again requires awareness and action by the body politic to resolve. As I've explained, the organizations we are dealing with are government service corporations, not our lawful government. They are merely claiming to represent our government in the absence of our actual government, which is owed to us and which must be provided to us. This addresses the heart of what self-governing means. Every living American has more civil authority on the land jurisdiction of the continental United States than the entire federal United States government. It's time we exercise that inherent power and put an end to this gross criminality, fraud, and usurpation by our public servants. The historical fact and timeline progression of how we got into this mess is fully explained, and you know something is wrong when an American Affidavit of a Probable Cause available on Amazon. You can also find it on YouTube. So I feel like I've done this video before, but I'm going to put the link of her website into the description of this. And then we're going to move on to how you can take back your living man or living woman by going to the 528 Global Family and changing your status on that for free, because the public needs to be aware so that the republic can be restored, because we are all extremely wealthy. And that's the only way to remove yourself from the circus government that is happening right now. So obviously you won't be able to vote. Who cares? You know, the elections, in my opinion, are rigged anyway. So it just removes yourself from the system. So if you don't want to play the game anymore, you need to remove yourself from the game so that you can become your best living man or living woman self. So stay strong. We got this.
Thank you for listening to the Unveiling Shadows podcast. I hope today's episode has shed light on the experiences that too often remain hidden. If you or someone you know has a story to share, please reach out to me. Remember, you're not alone and your voice matters. Follow me on social media and subscribe to the podcast for more inspiring stories. Until next time, stay strong and keep unveiling the shadows.